Sorry, it's not my fault.
You're going to reference that fucking show like
I,
every episode.
I fucking guess. I don't know, man.
Welcome to RPG Book Club, the podcast where we play a little bit of a video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I am Sam Allman.
I'm David Bernard Hauk.
And I'm Maddy Grace Webbin.
And today we will be covering the last part of Anachronox, or some could say the middle part of Anachronox. But before we get to all of that, how is everybody's week?
Oh, I played Anachronox, so not great. The more I play this game, less I like it.
I'm doing good. Oh my gosh. So if you recall last week I had some health problems. This week I now have made some progress on my health problems. Y'all know this personally, but I didn't say it while we were recording. I got a doctor to see my weird leg, and basically now I have to take care of it so that it'll get better. And so that's why right now I'm elevating my leg and putting ice on it, and I have to do that as much as I can. I think the doctor probably would have liked it if I also took off of work, but I can't do that, so I'm not going to. I think every time I go to work, it makes it a little worse. And every time I spend a day elevating and icing, it makes it better. So I just gotta hope that I can do more of that than the other thing. But the bad news is, so ever since I started my job, I've had about 10 days or so, probably, maybe a dozen, that have been over 6 hours. My shift, it takes over 6 hours for them to say, okay, we're done, go home.
Uh-huh.
Monday and Tuesday were two of them.
Fun.
So it's a very rare thing that happens, and almost always happens on Friday, except today it happened twice in a row. And then last night was 5 hours and 55 minutes. So the universe decided, oh, you need to take it a little easy because of your leg problem. So you don't want to work too hard. Fuck you, buddy. This is going to be literally the most hours you've worked at this job since you started working. Have fun. So that's cool. So I spent the week being like tired and stuff like that. But other than that, things are great. Also, anyone listening to this, it might be too late, but I've got to give an announcement. As I mentioned last week, the absolute Chads working at 4 different factories, making everyone's favorite Nabisco treats, have been on strike for literally a month. But they're currently voting on a tentative agreement. Now, here's the thing. Normally, when there's a tentative agreement and the union's voting on it, people who aren't in the union should keep their damn mouths shut and not be like, oh, you all gotta vote no, because you gotta keep striking, yeah, because it's their decision, and it's very, very complex strategic decision whether you can continue to strike or not, right? And being like, yeah, you got to keep striking can kind of make it seem like you're being critical, like if you say, if you compromise, you're a coward or something, right? All that being said, the TA is awful. And one local, the Portland local at Nabisco, has already voted no on it, and are now very strongly encouraging everyone else to vote no as well. Chicago votes tomorrow, and the thing about, as I just tweeted, the thing about strikes and unions and workers is that, yes, you need courage and strength and tenacity to continue a strike after an entire month, but you also need support. You need material support. You need people behind you. So anyone listening to this, open up your little phone and Google Chicago Nabisco Strike Fund and donate. Now, if you're listening to this, they will have already voted. So if they voted to reject the contract, then that means that they are still on strike and need your money. If they voted otherwise, then I guess they wouldn't, but I still got it. I got to say it. Yeah. And again, if they don't, then they had their own reasons, and no shade on them. But yeah, that's the thing. Donate, donate, donate. I've been tweeting about it. Oh, right. You asked how my week is. The reason I mentioned this is because this is also the thing that I'm gonna have to be doing while we're doing this episode. I made a tweet about this, and the tweet's kind of blowing up, and I'm like responding to everyone who's replying to generate like hype for the whole process, which is yeah, so that's what I'm doing. It's fun actually. I've got like a little thread where everyone's having fun donating to support these people. So go team.
I suck, and I accidentally have procrastinated like 4 episodes worth of editing. So I have decided that from now on, because editing doesn't actually take that long, but remembering to edit takes like 3 or 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So after I get all caught up tomorrow or tonight even, or Saturday morning or whenever the fuck, I will then, as soon as we're done recording, edit and put it up right then, because it doesn't take that long to do. I just procrastinate, and then I'm like, oh shit, I have to play Anachronox and edit last week's video and all those things, and it just takes forever. So
takes a lot longer when you got 4 to do, I'm guessing.
Yeah, so catching up will take me 1 day of mostly sitting around and editing, but that does mean that we will be a lot more agile going forward, because the day we record will be the day that the things go up. So a lot of our, like you just said, by the time they hear this, will probably be like Thursday next week, because I'll space the episodes out. So who knows what'll happen. But in the future, we can be like, hey, now, go and do the thing, and it'll.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, it's just a shame, because I didn't know the TA dropped, I think, this morning, and the Portland vote happened like an hour ago, and I didn't know that the struggle was happening. So like, obviously, I could have like done other things, post about it, but like, no, I just found this out just now. So you know,
yeah. But yeah, the other thing that I did was oh, it's gone. I don't know what it was. Oh, I got some more RAM for my little HP thin clients. Fuck HP, steal from HP. But my stolen HP thin client emulation box that I was doing, I got some more RAM for it, and it did not help any of the games. So it still can't play PS2 or GameCube, but that does mean I have lots of room for PS1 and Dreamcast. So send me your recommendations for PS1 and Dreamcast games, because I'm about to have them all in a pile that I'll never play.
You ever hear of this Dreamcast game called Shenmue?
I was about to say that.
It's pretty good.
That's that one where you're the hedgehog and you run around in loop-de-loops, right?
No, see, in that one you go fast. In this one, you go slow.
Yeah, Shenmue really is that good. It's one of the best games of all time, and you should
But also, there's a really great HD remaster that you can play.
That's true. The original's definitely got a charm. So I would. Yeah, I mean, you got the ability to play it, right? So go ahead and play it.
The original does have tons of licensed products in it.
That's true.
Which is fun.
Oh yeah. So like in the HD version, can you still play like Outrun?
Yeah, you can still play the second game.
But they don't have like the sodas and stuff.
Yeah, they don't have, like, I think the original had like Rolex watches and stuff.
Yeah. It's got a lot.
They don't have stuff like that.
Gotcha.
They're replaced by generic brand.
Yeah,
watches.
so see, you're not gonna get to have drip if you don't play the original.
Yeah. Related, I have mostly only ever played Sonic Adventure 2 Battle on the GameCube and Steam. So when I loaded it up to test the Dreamcast emulator, all of those Sonic billboards are not Sonic billboards. They're billboards for Soap's shoes. And I did not know that. And that is amazing.
Yeah, it rules. Yeah,
I don't
Sonic does
think.
not just wear cool shoes. He literally wears soaps.
Yeah, I completely had forgotten about soaps until I loaded that game up. But
I've never heard of soaps outside of this conversation, which I've had many times with
They
many
were a
people,
big thing in the 90s. They let you do many things, but one thing you can do with soaps is grind on rails.
like Sonic.
yeah, but yeah,
I'm sure that was a very safe thing to do.
It was not. Yeah, the only time I ever saw anyone like using soaps and not just wearing them as a status symbol or whatever, they face planted when they tried to show them off. So,
I never had any.
what about you, Bernard? How was your week?
Oh, I played Anachronox, so not great. More I play this game, less I like it. I'm just saying the same thing I said
You said
last
the
time.
exact same thing you said earlier.
Yep.
Well, I guess that's it then.
Yeah. Well, good news, Bernard. There is no more of this game. It seems like there
Yeah.
should be, but
Now,
there isn't.
now you get to just focus on playing a truly great video game, Final Fantasy 13.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, so let's talk about Anachronox and listen to some music first. So, we don't have notes this week, so bear with us as we argue over what happened in what order for the plot. But so where we last left off was right after getting back to the ring of Democritus after wasting time pretending to be Star Wars, and before you head out, Fatima says that you should get some rest at the Republic Inn, which just means we have one more dream sequence to go through, which is Fatima's side of the story. And basically she's Dante from Clerk. She wasn't even supposed to be here today. She was putting in her resignation because she was in love with Boots, but Boots was in love with Sarah, and she was like, it hurts to work for you. I'm not going to do this anymore. And she was literally in Boots' office dropping off the resignation when he pops in and is like, hey, they got Sarah. Come with us. Come with me. Takes her.
I'm
and
like, him?
Nah, Boots is cool. I get it.
Maybe he would be more attractive if he were HD.
Yeah, maybe. And so Boots gets Fatima and puts her in the car, and then so in History of Motion Pictures, we watched like the first modern car chase in Bullet, and we watched it because it was super important. And the thing that's hilarious about it is that it is not shot like a modern car chase with fast moving cuts. It is a lot of long, slow, boring shots of cars just driving around. So Anachronox does that, and I'm sure it was on purpose.
Yeah, it was an homage.
Yeah, it's like a 3-minute cutscene of just driving around in circles, and
It goes so long.
yeah, and at the end of it, the Boots loses control of the car. Fatima gets thrown from it, and the car, Boots' car, hits Fatima, and so that's how she died. It was all Boots' fault. So that's probably why he's really upset. Post dream sequence, we now can get back on our shuttle. So we go back to Center Station to get our people, and then keep on trucking towards Olympus. It really, just to hit home how unimportant the comic book and Star Wars levels were, your people don't even like comment on it. Like the most that happens is Grumpos is like, wait, so you didn't go to Limbus already? And like that's it. So you just
I believe he says I wrote 5 chapters of my book while you were fucking around on Democritus.
yeah.
But hey, now we have Paco, so that's something. We'll get to use him for
Paco
like
is
2
dope.
dungeons.
Buy my book.
Yeah. So we change party members if you want. I don't actually like playing with Paco. I didn't enjoy his style, so I swapped him out. And then you get in the shuttle and you make your way towards Limbus. So as you show up to Limbus, you're driving up, and then this like asteroid is coming around the planet, and it's all like yellow and glowy, and the surface of it is all smooshing around and stuff. And as you drive past it, it opens up to be a fucking Stargate, and these like tentacly looking escape pod things all come down from it and land on the surface. So we follow them, land on the surface, and then we have a dungeon, quote unquote. It's just a really long hallway, but there's a whole lot of fights in it.
There's a whole lot of clams in it.
Yeah. It's funny. So like the clams definitely seem like they're wild animals. And so I was expecting in a second we have to walk back through the dungeon because there's no fast travel way to get back to your ship. And I was like, well, they were just wild animals, so I'm going to have to fight them again, but you don't. So that's cool and all, because it's like besides the clams, you fight the people that live on Limbus, and we find out that they're on our side. So when we're leaving, they don't fight us anymore. But the clams, I guess, are just like, you know what? You're cool. It's fine.
No, we killed all of them.
Every clam.
All of the clams, yeah. There's no more clams.
So yeah, we kill a lot of clams, a lot of snails, a lot of people, and we make our way down into this cave. And there's like structure inside of the cave, and these like 3 dog statue things come out and fight us, and 6 dog statue things.
Switch places, and you only fight 3 at a time.
Yeah, that's what it was. So yeah, you fight these doggy things, and you kill them dead, and then the people are mad at you because they were like holy objects, and you just destroyed them on sight because whoopsies. So the people there all are the same kind of alien that the Pope was. They've gone out the ventilation shaft, people from Star Wars Episode 1. And so you talk to him, and he's like, I forget what he says at this first one. The second one that he does is where he tells you the whole like prophecy and backstory. But the first one, he
decides to not have you killed because you know his brother's name.
That's right.
Showing that you have really met with his brother and he has sent him here. And then he tells you, we're fucked because people keep coming from this other universe through the portal. So go around and talk to everyone in town and see where you need to leave your warriors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we go walking around, and we go to the free and only 3 points of interest in this entire town, and we leave our dudes there just in time for the people to attack. So the Stargate opens up again, and more dudes that have a particular symbol on them. The symbol looks like Deathstroke from DC Comics, and they come down.
Now I know what Deathstroke from DC Comics looks like.
He looks like Deadpool but angry, and so they come down. We fight them off, and we save the day. And so then,
I have a question for y'all.
Okay.
So one of the people that you leave is using a turret to shoot down the pods that are coming down, bringing the bad guys. Did this work for y'all? Because for me, the mouse movement was so incredibly slow. I was like frantically like pushing my mouse all the way forward, lifting it up, bringing it back, doing that over and over, trying to
That must have been a you thing.
Yeah. It might be related to your other mouse woes when you first started, not being able to use explore mode very easy.
I discovered that I can move the camera when I'm stationary. It is just as slow as it was for that mini game. So it seemed like I couldn't move it at all. I did manage to shoot down some of the pods because they take a similar path, a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I aimed at that spot and shot, and I took some down, but
does it once again not matter if you lose?
Yeah,
so my understanding is that there's more bad guys if you don't shoot down everyone.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, I did a real good job, so I just don't know what happens if you.
Well, good for you.
Yeah, the fight on the bridge is always with 3, but the other fights that comes through the tunnel can be up to 9. If you suck really bad, they can be up to 9.
The
you
ones
do really
that
good is just 3.
Shoot.
Yeah. So
yeah, I only got 6. I didn't get 9, so I did okay.
Yeah. So after the fight, you save the day and everyone's super happy for you. So you go talk to the Pope's brother, and he says that he because we saved him, we've now become a part of their culture, society, their people, and so we're entitled to their knowledge. So he wants to tell us the sacred story. So he's like, oh, the stuff is coming from another universe, and we're like, yeah, we know it's chaos. And he goes, well, you might call it chaos, we call it something else. And he breaks down that there is the agents of chaos, the dark callers or something like that. They are the
4 fiends.
Yes. They are the
leaders.
They are the ones that we need to stop from getting to the past universe, but they have like basically a cult that follows them whose symbol looks like Deathstroke from DC Comics, and they are the ones that blew up Sunder because they're trying to get things ready for the chaos things that they look like little skull eyeballs with squigglies, so that they can go into the past universe. So it's like the Deathstroke people have gotten it ready. They're just trying to herald in the change with something called the Echo Gate, and the Pope and his brother had sent out a sleeper agent to Anachronox to try and find the Echo Gate, and his name is Roedicalicon. And
not Roedicalicon. What a twist! I can't believe Roedicalicon was an undercover agent all along. This character that we're familiar with.
Yeah, if you drop a couple letters, you may recognize it as Rowdy, which is our good friend who gives us a place to live back in Anachronox.
Rowdy? Haven't heard of him.
So you then walk your way all the way back out to get on your ship, and you head back over to Anachronox and you can go talk to Rowdy right away. Or if you try and change your party, every single one says, "Oh, I'm ready to do the thing, but it would be great if I had my ultimate weapon," trying to coax you into doing side quests here at the end of the game, of which there are plenty, and I did none.
You expect me to play more of this game than I have to?
So,
Do you really expect me to believe you want to keep playing?
uh, so yeah, so we go and we talk to Rowdy, and Rowdy takes off his mask, reveals that he too is a vigil, is what they're called, the people from Limbus, and he says that he's been looking for the Echo Gate for forever, and he finally found it recently, and now we just need to get the key so that he can unlock it. And we're like, well, where's the key? He's like, it was that job I tried to give you back in the Mistec tunnels. That was to go and get the thing, and you said no. And we're like, oh, Detta stole the thing from that we found in the Mistec tunnels, so he has it. He now suddenly out of nowhere becomes the final boss of the game. He was just kind of a thug prior to this. He was backstory, but now he's main story. So we're like, okay, well, we got to go stop Detta and get the thing back. So we ignore everyone's calls for ultimate weapons, and we get we get tickets over to One Gate, which is the part in North Anachronox where Detta's corporation is. The bricks where we've been hanging out the whole time is the bad side of town. It's the dumps, the slums, and One Gate is gated community. Everything's super nice, super pretty. Detta is a Norman Osborn type, where he's 100% a criminal. He just has really good lawyers, so he has a huge business front and is on the reputable side of everything, even though he's a piece of shit. So we get over to One Gate, and we wander around, fight some people up until Fatima pops out and says, "Hey, this is the point of no return. Go and do side quests if you want to." And we say, "Hell no." The final dungeon is pretty cool. It's Final Fantasy VI style, where you split up the party into three, and Boots is in charge of one party, Stiletto's in charge of the other, and Pal is by himself. And so Pal will be hacking things to open up ways for Boots, who will go and flip a switch for Stiletto, and it goes back and forth. And I actually enjoyed it, except for the fact that my fucking game kept corrupting its saves. I would get to a part and I could see a fight coming up, and I'm like, okay, well, let me save, because I haven't saved in a while and I haven't played with Pal basically the whole game, so I know I'm going to get my ass kicked. Let me save right here. And then it would crash during the save, and then because it crashed, it not only wiped that save, but also whatever save I was saving over. So I kept having to go back and piecemeal my way through it, and it was so frustrating. I probably would have been done an hour earlier, but I wasn't.
That's what you get for playing an obscure old PC game.
Yep. Especially an obscure old PC game that I gave myself cheat codes for, and I'm playing with fast forward held down most of the time. Those are all things to make it really unstable. So
it's really funny that I feel like I'm often the one having weird problems like this, but in this case, ran perfect. I mean, it didn't run perfect for me. It had some issues right here and there. And I also didn't install any mods. Maybe that's got something to do with it. I never did. Actually, no, I think I had some issues right at the start of the game. Like the very first week we played, I had some something going on. Oh, I had a lot of issues with aspect with resolution and aspect ratio and window versus non-windowed. It was getting very confused about that. But and it was like the bottom, like the image was going off of the window, the edge of the window. Anyway, but after I fixed those problems, it's been perfect for me, which thank goodness.
Yeah, because so like I didn't quite finish last week, so I had to do the ice caves earlier this week. And I got to the end of it, and things got way out. Like I showed up in Wittenden at the very end as Boots, where all you have to do is walk on the fucking ship. But I get in there, and everyone's talking to me like I was there for the first time, so I was soft locked somehow, and those saves all corrupted on me, and I couldn't get through it. But I figured I had soft locked the game somehow, so I downloaded a save file from the internet. There's a person that had basically saved in every cutscene, and so I could go in exactly where I was. And so I got one of those. It was making my way through, and then those started fucking up on me there at the very end, and it was so frustrating. Whack. But the dungeon was cool. I actually liked it. It was nice having like dungeoneering as a part of what we're doing, instead of just walking through hallways or doing obscure weird adventuring shit.
Yeah, imagine if an RPG was just a bunch of hallways and battles that go on way too long. That would suck.
Yeah. Tune in next week for Final Fantasy 13. But yeah, so we make our way all the way through the super long dungeon, and we get to where Detta is, and he says something to us. I don't remember what it is.
It is dramatically revealed that Detta paid for Fatima's de-dedification. Boots basically was working for Detta to get the money to pay for Fatima.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me, because they were trying to stop him from doing whatever when Fatima died, and it's kind of like he walked in there and was like, hey, I was going to stop you, but instead of stopping you, can I just be your bitch forever, and you do this for me? I would, if I found that out, I would be like, I would also be upset. Like, Boots, why the fuck would you do this? Because, like, we were trying to stop him, and then et cetera, et cetera. But
also important to note that Detta is creating an army of like super soldiers.
Yeah.
That's just happening in the background. You can just read about it on some terminals, and eventually you go through a room where you see a bunch of these super soldiers in suspended animation. So when you get to this door where you're about to go in and fight Detta, Boots and Stiletto go in alone and send the rest of the team back to go and take care of the super soldiers off screen.
Yeah.
So you only have Boots and Stiletto for the next two fights. And the next two the first fight isn't hard. The second fight is hard.
It's nasty.
Yeah, I had cheat codes, so I did both of them in one hit. What was so hard about that second fight?
The second fight, he just starts spamming a move that will do 2,000 damage to the person it targets and 1,500 damage to the person it doesn't target. And that's a lot of damage, because my people have like 4,000 HP, and he's very fast. I tried a couple times, and I could not get through that second fight. But then I tried switching around. I had a really good shield cell, or whatever they're called, on Boots. so I took that off Boots and gave it to Stiletto. And then I tried again. And not only did that make the HP balance out better, but it also changed up Detta's attack patterns a little bit, which made it easier to win. So, pro tip, if you ever for some reason play this game.
Yeah, I was using I was looking at a walkthrough, and I didn't do anything dramatic like that, but or at least I didn't notice the attack pattern changing, but the walkthrough just recommended some certain loadouts. The first thing Bernard said was the main thing of making the HP balance out a little bit more. And then I did have just a gazillion healing items. And it was it was pretty tough, right? But I was able to keep my dudes healed while Boots just hit him a bunch. It was sort of one of those Dragon Quest style battles where it's just kind of like a tug of war, and you're just sort of like having to nurse your dudes the whole time. But like if the enemy had 30% more health, I would have been fucked because of like amount of healing items I had and like slowly chipping away. But given where we were at, I handled it. It took me like 3 tries.
For you, when you went back in on your next try, were the crates still broken from the previous try?
I don't remember that.
Well, he's hiding behind those crates and a crate breaks and he goes to another one. When I would load and go back in, the crates would still be broken. I'd still have to do the whole fight.
No, they weren't. Otherwise, I think I realized now I obviously would have remembered that. No, it was totally reset normal style. But I what was I gonna say? The good news for me is that the 2 times that I lost the fight, I lost really fast. Which is always good, right? So the 3rd time it went on for, or maybe it was the 4th time, whatever. It went on for so long, and I was like, okay, this is going on for so long. If I die at the end, I'm gonna be really fucking pissed. But it wasn't. He just owned me super fast, and then I modified my equipment, and then and again used some walkthrough stuff, and was like, cool, I'm handling it.
But I think it's important we're getting ahead of ourselves. It's important to note that when we first encounter Detta and he makes this big reveal, he's in a mech.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So we fight his mech.
Yeah. The mech you would think would be the hard fight, but you just
the mech's easy.
Legs. Yeah. And it's just Detta by himself hiding behind boxes. That's the hard one.
But he says like stuff about how with the right piece of mistech you can take over the universe or something, and then he starts beating your ass with mistech, and it's like, oh, I see.
Yeah. So we beat Detta for the second time. He runs away again. And so we follow him up to the roof, and he gets like to the edge of the roof, turns around to say some like villainy shit, and Stiletto just knifes him in the fucking head, and he falls off the railing, and you hear him go splat at the bottom. He is dead gone.
I love Stiletto.
That was good because like I was enjoying the 2 phases that we fought, but if I had a 3rd phase, I would have been like, Stiletto was like, no thank you, we are not having a 3rd phase of the boss battle.
Yeah, definitely not. So Boots is like, so does that make you feel any better? And Stilletto's like, do you feel any better or whatever? And because they killed Fatima's killer, as it were, and didn't change anything.
Well, reckless driving was Fatima's killer.
Yeah.
Also, I don't believe she was wearing a seatbelt.
Yeah. So, maybe you should, if Fatima would use her big girl words to tell Boots how she felt instead of sneaking around with the note, so she could have just told him and not gone with him. Or if Boots wouldn't have grabbed her by the wrist and thrown her in the car for no good reason. Or if she would have wore a seatbelt, all of those things were the.
Or if
the real
Detta had kidnapped Sarah in the first place.
Yeah.
meta is involved. There's just a lot of points of failure in this
Yes.
chain.
Yes. But we grab the keystone from Detta's place and we head back to Anachronox and we just save the whole world and we're all super happy. And so Rowdy is like, okay, well, we need to go and drop the One Ring into Mount Doom. So we're going to go to the part of Anachronox that looks like Mount Doom. And so we go to the fountain to throw it in. And
the fountain is the Echo Gate, and they need the Echo Gate power to destroy it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
If you recall the fountain is the cool, weird halo energy beam looking ass thing that I was yelling about on the very first episode because it's good graphics.
And that's the final resting place of our boy Flingbot.
Yep.
God rest his soul. But
Best part of this game.
so we get up there and we're like, all right, we just need to go drop this in the thing. And Boots is like, Grumpos, you do it. Like it was your job that started the whole thing. You obviously you wanted it. We got this whole thing kicked off because you. It's more poetic if you do it. So Grumpos is like, okay, I'll do it. So he goes up to drop it in the fountain, and the wind starts blowing his beard around, and it blows it out of the way, and we see on his chest Deathstroke from DC Comics.
Oh, no.
And we're like, oh shit! And instead of throwing it into the fire, he throws it into the keyhole to unlock the Echo Gate, and so the ceiling opens up, and the big grav beam thing shoots out into outer space, and then all of Chaos's squiggly people show up, and this, just like a true JRPG, this big scary monster that we've literally never seen ever before shows up and becomes the real final boss. And so the new big scary guy, Grumpos gets like sucked up into the Echo Gate, and the big new boss guy has no dialogue, but he pulls down like basically an elevator type thing from somewhere up at the top of Anachronox where the beam is hitting, and it comes down and he jumps on it to ride it up. So we all jump on it after him to try and stop it somehow. And so then the final boss is pretty cool. It is obviously inspired by Final Fantasy VI's final boss, where you have a party of 3, but you have your whole party there with you. But in this one, instead of them going away when you die, that you are trying to prevent him from having these magical orby things, and so you destroy an orb, and then you go and stand on top of it to keep it from respawning. And once you put someone on it, then it subs in another one of your people who is there on the outside, and so you eventually get all of them closed up.
Can I complain about this game one last time?
Absolutely.
This fight is not hard, but it takes fucking forever because this game has, of course, the long animations, and there are 6 spheres, and all of them do their attacks, and time doesn't progress while they're doing their attacks. So you just have to wait for all their attacks to cycle through, and they can do a bunch of status effects. So, like, Boots will be confused, and that'll cause them to lose turns. And sometimes things will just be timed out so that you destroy one of the orbs, and then the boss man revives it right away before you have a chance to put someone on it.
Yep.
It took so long.
Yeah, why can't they just have a simple non-frustrating final boss? Like, I don't know, you have to cast spells in 7 spells in a certain order. But the enemy also casts spells, and if the enemy casts the wrong spell, then it just totally fucks up your combo. And you don't have to hit his HP, you just gotta do this weird thing that the game doesn't give you hints on. That would have been much more reasonable.
Yeah.
And if you don't do it right, you don't get an ending.
Yep.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say, why have a complicated final boss like this when you can have a final boss with literally 20 faces, all with different mechanics?
Or why have a final boss like this when you could have a final boss that has an instant kill move, and if your main character dies, it's game over.
Oops.
Oopsies.
Let's all make sure to not say what game we're talking about there.
So yeah, we kill the guy dead. We all use our mistech, our magical powers, because as you remember with the Pope, he was like, oh, the mistech is the thing that can stop chaos. So use that to beat him up. So we use that on the dude. The elevator thing explodes and settles back down in an Anachronox, and then like I don't know what that accomplishes besides putting a big hole in the thing because the gate's still open. But we're about to end the game on a to be continued, so maybe it was left open for part 2. But
given that I didn't realize that it was the very end of the game, and assumed it would be explained, when that happened, I did not think, oh, what's the point of that? Like if someone had told me this is going to be unexplained, then I would have like paid more attention to be extra sure I understood what was going on. But given that it was the way it happened, and then it wasn't until a little bit later I was like, wait a second, did I miss something?
Yeah, so elevator go down instead of elevator go up, and that means we win for now. So flash forward a little bit later, and Boots is moving out of Rowdy's, and he's taking all of his stuff with him. And Fatima is like, "Oh, like this is stupid. You don't know what's out there, what you're getting yourself into." And he's like, "Well, I gotta. All I can do is be a JRPG hero, and I gotta do something." So Boots like closes down his detective agency, says goodbye to Rowdy, and he steps outside, and all of the party is there, and they're like, "Yeah, we decided that we want to be there when you get your ass kicked, because you're obviously going to get your ass kicked because you're not a good JRPG hero." And they say, "Hell yeah!" And then they turn around and they walk towards the camera as the credits roll.
It's very corny.
Yes.
To
be continued.
Can't wait to play an Anachronox 2.
We do see their shuttle go through the gate.
Yeah.
So they're going to a different fucking universe.
Hell yeah.
You know how in Trails in the Sky they cleverly did it so that they could reuse a ton of assets? I guess they're not doing it this time because they're going to a different fucking universe.
Yeah. Whomst can say.
I can't. I'm trying to decide. I'm trying to decide where this falls on the scale of, wow, y'all definitely thought you were going to have a sequel. I think it probably is still not quite on the level of what I think is the worst offender of this, which is Beyond Good and Evil. And I think the reason is because Beyond Good and Evil has a plot.
Yes.
Like this is I would say in many ways objectively worse because Beyond Good and Evil does resolve its narrative. Beyond Good and Evil is like, we have a plot, and then at the end there's a bunch of crazy fucking twists, and then a huge cliffhanger, but not in like the sequel hook way, like definitely in the I'm disappointed because I feel like it's not over yet way, not like in the fun Into the Matrix kind of way. Because it's not just like, oh, we defeated the villain, but now there's a greater threat. Like that'd be fine, right? But it's like we've been dropping hints about the main something about the main character's like origin, that's a really huge deal, and then they finally blow that up and start to explore it in the last like 30 minutes of the game, and then they cut you off. So it's like it's pretty bad. But this one, so on one hand, Beyond Good and Evil does actually resolve its main plot and then just expands to another plot. On the other hand, the fact that it has a plot that you're invested in and a main character who you want to know more about means it really stings. This, it's like, on one hand, there's zero resolution at all, but on the other hand, who gives a shit? Because the game didn't have a plot anyway. This is, you know what? Actually, this is way more like on the Halo 2 level, is what it is. Like Halo 2, like in retrospect, Halo 2's ending isn't that bad because clearly, quote, finishing the fight was a lot more of a to-do than we realized. But when Halo 2 ends, it literally feels like there's one more level in the game's story. And then Halo went and kicked the bad guys' butts. So when it just cuts off and you don't get, and then Halo went and kicked their butts, you're like, what the fuck? Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely, this game's definitely up there though.
You know what? I feel like this works because the plot is so much not a thing that the game itself forgets about it and sends us to villainship and sends us to Democritus. But the plot isn't something that I care about. What I care about in this game is I care about Boots, Stiletto, and Fatima. That's what I care about. And their thing got resolved.
That's true, it did.
They actually sufficiently explored and resolved their whole thing. And I mean, other than that, I care about Ro, but she never had like a problem to get over. She just got to stand around and be cool.
Yeah, she just is. She whatever personal growth arc she may have had definitely happened prior to the start of the game.
Yes. Yeah. She had to learn how to be cool and how to get the sunglasses without rims to stay on her nose.
Exactly.
But yeah, so that's the end of Anachronox. So let's listen to some more Anachronox music, and then we'll talk about our final thoughts and go from there. All right. Does anyone have any memorable moments from this time around?
A couple. I thought I had actually found Pal's ultimate weapon, but turns out I didn't. Neither of y'all got the scene with the ball pit, did you?
No.
Ball pit?
Yeah, ball pit. On Anachronox, there's a part where there's a ball pit, and Pal is like, you gotta let me play in the ball pit. So you do. And he plays in the ball pit for X amount of time. And then when he comes out, there's some shenanigans that happens, like he gets stuck in something. And then when he comes out, he's like, cool, thanks for letting me play in the ball pit. Also, look at all the stuff I found. And I was like, oh, I didn't realize that the point of a ball pit was to find items,
forage.
But yeah, it was to forage. I thought it was just for fun, but okay. Anyway, most of the items are jokes, but a few of them are actually items, like just some heel grease and stuff like that. A few pretty good items, like some good equipment and stuff. However, none of it is his. I thought that would have been a really funny place to put his ultimate weapon. Just like he literally finds it in a ball pit. But it wasn't. But it was a very cute scene, though. It was a very cute scene. It was just kind of there, right? Yeah. And then what else? There was one more. I have a screenshot of it somewhere. I've completely The ball pit I remembered. This one I completely forget. Nope. I don't actually know where it is. Oh, right. I remember now. So when you're on that one planet and the Limbus or whatever, and they're about to all get owned. The aliens are about to, well, I guess everything's aliens in this game. The bad guys are about to just completely destroy the whole world or whatever. You get to go around and talk to NPCs, and all of them are just like, I'm sad that we're gonna die, and it's like, it's typical NPC. I mean, this game's got really, really good NPC dialogue that I've been able to enjoy less and less as the game goes on because of my life. But in this particular case, there weren't any lines that super were like memorable or anything. But like they were all really, really good, and they all came together in a nice way. Like they weren't saying anything interesting. They're saying what you'd expect. They're saying like "I love you" to their partner, or the kids, like, there was one where the kid is like, what's going on? The parents like, don't worry, it'll be okay. Like stuff like that. Like, that's what you do right before you die. You make sure to lie to your kid. No, I'm just kidding. Being a good parent is about lying sometimes. I know that. Or maybe a lot. I don't know. But it was just really good. And there weren't any, as far as I know, dumb jokes or out of place sci-fi movie references or shenanigans. They're like, no, like, this is a serious moment, at least for these characters that we met 5 minutes ago. They all are having a serious situation and they're having emotions to it. And it was actually just like, yeah, it was really well realized. And I think I talked to like every single one of them, and they all said about what I would expect them to say, but that's good. And not bad. So yeah, that real good job on that random little bit of NPC writing there. Good job, game. Oh, also, final thing. Also, I'm really glad that the character that, if you recall, at the beginning of the game, we all had some words about how, wow, Grumpos really, really, really sucks. Like, is a terrible person above and beyond the rest of the characters in this game. I'm glad that he ended up being bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, if Stiletto had ended up being bad or something, I would be so sad.
Like, it's nice that the game apparently is aware, because like the whole time I was just like, why am I supposed to like this guy who like employs people and then sends them to like get their arms blown off and then doesn't like give them hazard pay? Like, that is really terrible. He just kind of sucks. And then it's like, oh, he's literally a servant of darkness. Okay, cool.
Cool, got it.
Maybe you should vet your party members a little better, but
I mean, there were red flags for this guy, but
yeah,
Boots went along with him. Grumpos is of course terrible, but I liked him the way you like a terrible character.
Oh yeah, totally.
And the big twist, it affected me. I was like, what? Oh no, Grumpos!
Yeah,
I was genuinely surprised. It was a good twist.
Yeah, we
did. Twist. I think the fact that he was our very first party member probably has a lot to do with that, right? He's not just some guy. He's the one guy who's been there the whole time. He's the plot impetus for why we're even leaving Anachronox to go on an adventure, right? Yeah, so it's like, Grumpos, I trusted you, and it turns out you sucked, just as I initially thought you did.
Yeah, and
like if Paco had betrayed us, it'd be like, okay, well, I barely know you.
Yeah.
Who?
And like, as much as we were dogging on this game for not having any plot, that's still true. But Grumpos was like always after Mistech and trying to figure out Mistech, and then he was the party member that was so vehemently against going to Limbus and all of these other things that like track at the end, and like, oh, he didn't want to go to Limbus because he was a bad guy and they would have recognized him, so that's why I didn't want to go. And he was always trying to find this thing, and so when he said you were going into the Mistech tunnels to get the Mistech, and then we just happened to find the Echo Gate key, he was actually trying to get the Echo Gate key and all of those sorts of things the whole time. So like, in a weird turn of events that they like paid attention to the writing of this particular part, which is kind of cool, and that's probably why it affected you more.
And although there is one thing that I found a little weird, when someone has to go walk on the scary platform to throw the ring into Mount Doom, Grumpus does not volunteer. Boots volunteers him. But what's really weird is that Grumpus says no. And then the ladies call him a coward, and then he says yes. So I'm like, man, he's really committed to the bit if he's like risking it and not like taking the opening.
That is funny. Yeah. What, does he think that if he said, cool, I'll do it, then in the 10 seconds between then and him turning bad, someone would have realized, wait, he's kind of out of character for you?
Maybe.
Boots, you should take this. Okay. Well, now I want to take it.
But did you have any memorable moments, Bernard?
I really liked Rose's final line where she's like, "Yeah, we all wanted to go with you." It was cute. Also, when you beat the game and the credits start, it starts with "Holy yes, you have won, Anachronox." The credits go on a long time, and it sort of made me sad because the credits were like, clearly they thought this game was a bigger deal than it ended up being.
Yeah.
Really
No one
stinks.
really played this game, but it's better. It deserves better than it got, but it still's not great.
Yeah. Like as I was nearing the end, because I always was like, oh, since Square Enix is like accepting proposals for old dead IPs, including Anachronox, like somehow Tom Hall could come in and make Anachronox 2, and I was like, no, I would want him to remake it and make it just one game, and you go and you fight the people at the end. But yeah, I definitely LOL. My point was that they should remake it and not just make a sequel, but I included that in my tone of voice as an explanation for the next thing I was going to say, which didn't exist because that was the point of my sentence.
Good job, Sam.
Brains are dumb.
Good job expressing thoughts.
Yeah, it's hard. But oh hey, I didn't actually know that. So I was looking up Ion Storm because I know they barely ever existed, and I was like, oh, what was their like? Because Anachronox did poorly, and for some reason I was thinking they were behind Advent Rising, but they are not.
No,
but
that was published by Majesco, developed by I forget
Bungie.
actually. Whatever.
But
it wasn't Bungie.
So
it wasn't Bungie.
So
it
I
was
looked
developed
up.
by Glyphix. Glyphx Games. A computer graphics designer studio that had been producing promotional videos, cinematics, and artwork for various video games for several years before going into video game design.
Nice. That game was dope.
Yeah.
I never played it. I heard it was dope.
Yeah, if we ever decide we want to play Anachronox again, a good block would be Anachronox versus Advent Rising, of games that were too big for their britches and were supposed to have sequels that never happened.
That's right.
But but looking up their the games that came out, they also made the Deus Ex series, which is a lot bigger of a deal and is still going, and Anachronox is definitely not.
Ion Storm made Deus Ex.
Yeah. 1 and 2, and Thief Deadly Shadows.
I've also heard a lot about Thief Deadly Shadows.
Yeah. Like, I knew they had done Daikatana before Anachronox, but I did not know that of the six
Oh,
six games that Ion Storm made, 4 of them are RPG adjacent. So Anachronox, Deus Ex 2, and Thief Deadly Shadows.
That is interesting.
so this is funny. Ion Storm Dallas made Dominion Storm Over Gift 3, which I have never heard of. Ion Storm Dallas made Daikatana, which we all like to laugh
That
about.
game made
Probably
me John
actually
Romero's bitch
Yeah.
because it was so good.
And Ion Storm Dallas also made Anachronox, which is a troubled game which never really got anywhere. But then Ion Storm Austin, their other office, made Deus Ex 2, and Thief Deadly Shadows. So I guess Austin was where things were happening.
Yeah. But I had one line that like it made me laugh really hard. I was like, "Oh, that'll be my memorable moments." I definitely won't forget it, and I have no idea what it was. But another one that I really liked is as you're making your way through Detta's palace or whatever, you're unlocking different security levels, and on the terminals, when you get there to unlock them, you can see the whole list of all the security levels. And so as you're going through, you unlock security level 1, 2, 3, and 4. But then the 5th level is just the hot chicks room. You never get to open it. It's dumb, but
that's really good.
It's great.
Oh yeah, I really liked the visual design of Detta's Fortress. There's lots of different stuff in it, and all the graphics are good. I like when a game has good graphics. There's weird artwork presumably stolen or something laying around everywhere. You go through a wine cellar, you go through labs. It's cool. Also, there's a part where there's a room where you can go in as Boots or you can go in the other way as Pal. And I went in as Pal first, but it turns out there's a really hard fight in there, and Pal's alone, so I died.
Nice.
Aww.
Poor Pal.
Yeah, that was the fight that it kept corrupting my save at. And I was like, God, I need to save right here. I can't just not save before Pal has to face down 6 dudes by himself. But yeah, anything else anyone wants to say about this game before we finish up?
No. Thanks to the fans for voting for it. Honestly, I'm glad we played it. What were the other games that we could have played?
Final Fantasy X-2, Breath of Fire 4,
Probably
and Heaven's Force.
Probably better.
Don't care. Glad we played this one.
I mean, I wouldn't have played Anachronox otherwise.
Exactly. Yeah, honestly, the only other one on that list that I will not almost without fail definitely play at some point is Hex's Force. Like, I'm obviously going to play FF10 2 eventually, and I'm obviously going to play Breath of Fire 4 eventually. So yeah. Also, I'm glad that we have to play this one and Subterracore together. Because I think that both games benefit from having us play both of them.
Yeah, definitely. And just as a personal victory for me, when I was pitching this podcast to Maddy and Eli and Rizzo, I was like, yeah, and then eventually we could play bottom of the barrel bargain bin bullshit like Subterracore and Anachronox, and now we've played both of them. So all we can do is go up from here.
Now you're going to be playing great shit like Hyperdimension Neptunia.
Exactly. Eventually, one day we might even play Sonic and the Dark Brotherhood.
I really want y'all to play Blue Reflection because I think it sounds cool and I want to play it too. But I just know I've seen democracy in action. I know Hyperdimension Neptunia is going to win.
Yeah, so far Blue Reflection
Always
is
vote for
winning.
titties.
Blue Reflection probably has titties too. I don't know.
I don't. I'm not paying attention because I'm not going to be playing that game. So
Yeah. Because I got like a week behind, I'm going to try and get this episode out to you guys while the voting is still on, so you can see like, oh, voting is neck and neck. I need to get in my vote, but that's one of the problems of getting behind on editing during voting time is if you're not in the Discord and you don't have notifications turned on for the Ko-Fi, you probably don't even know that the voting is open right now.
Damn, you're doing voter suppression.
That's me. To be fair, the only active voters that we have are all in the Discord, so I still got the word out to the people that actually do the thing. But
Yeah, but the idea is that voting is a privilege that you get for paying, and so you're not encouraging new people to pay and get involved in the ecosystem if they don't know about voting before it happens.
I know. I did it bad, and I promise that if from the time we announce it or we record the announcement during Blade Runner next week and the first episode, if people do show up and vote and it flips, we will flip, and I'll just say it and we'll do it. I will be fair for the people in the real world, but we'll see. I done goofed, but life has been real hard. Switching over to the new job, I now get to work on site, which is cool, except for that's long drives, and so I come home late from being out at a remote office, and then I sit around and don't do anything, which includes playing and editing for the podcast. But I today made a weekly schedule to keep on top of things, and instead of just saying, "Oh, I'll get to it the day before," because it's usually always the day before something. But yeah, so if you liked what you heard today, you can check us out on the web at www.rpgbook.club, where you can donate to vote in our aforementioned polls on what games we play next, as well as get access to the Book Club No Kaseki episodes a month before everybody else, and also unlock bonus series such as the Final Fantasy 13 series that we're currently working on. You also can commission episodes like the upcoming SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom episode that we're going to have coming out soon, as well as just saying hey and letting us know that you like us and want us to be able to keep this going and afford it as we do it. But for RPG Book Club, I have been Sam Hallman.
I'm David Bernard Hauk.
And I'm Maddy Grace Webben. And if you want to continue hearing my lovely voice, you're going to have to hop on over to Longcast.
Hell yeah.
Do you really expect me to believe you want to quit listening?
Toodaloo, folks.